Welcome, Jaakko and Nico, to Metalladium Pages. Now it's a great pleasure to talk with you about Marianas Rest, this new album, Aware, and more things related to the metal world in general. So, well, we're starting by asking, so the band has been since 2023, 2013, and since that date, you have not stopped releasing new productions. Therefore, what does this new album, Hour, means to you in the career of Marianas Rest? Do you think we're talking about the next step, or are we keeping the sound of the band perhaps with this new one?
Yeah, definitely. This is well, of course, this is the second album we've made for a bigger label, so that kind of you have to kind of take steps along the way, and well, musically and sound wise, we tried many things. For the first time on this album, we tried to kind of expand the way we communicate. We added some. We tried to add layers to the music and expand the way we can express the emotions through the music. There are more like calmness in this album. There are cleanly sung vocals and that sort of stuff. Maybe it's more ambitious in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for each album the idea has been to try a lot of new stuff, and this time I guess because I think we have grown confidence in what we do and what we can do as a band, so it is easier to experiment and still have trust in it so that it will end up sounding like us, and maybe not try to maybe force it or something to a different direction. I think we said the last same things the last time around, but yeah, I think this time around we did it maybe a bit more than last time and try to evolve in that sense.
Yeah, you have to kind of try new stuff to keep it interesting to yourself and of course the audience as well, well, and kind of push your own boundaries a bit. If you feel if it's too easy to make albums, then it kind of something is not going right. I think you have to kind of force yourself to evolve.
Okay. So this 2023, the band celebrates 10 years of existence. And for me, this hour is a kind of celebration of the band, 10 years. So do you have anything scheduled for these first 10 years of the Marianas Rex's existence?
Well, actually, we haven't thought about it really. I in one interview, the interviewer said the same thing, that this is actually the 10 years now the band has been. And I was like, really? Oh fuck yeah. yes it is. So I guess we have to kind of put something together in this year, but right now we are just focused on kind of releasing the album and doing the album release shows and kind of getting on back on the road again to just play. Maybe by the end of the year we'll have something special figured out.
Yeah.
Perhaps a DVD, who knows, with whole album live, who knows. Okay, so going into the lyrical concept of the album a bit, so I remember when we talked about the meaning of the Fata Morgana in 2021, which was the last part of the 3 previous albums, and about the biking journey and a lyrical level and more things that you told me at that time in the previous interview. So with this hour, so continues this idea, or are you opening a new possibilities for a new lyrical trilogy?
Well, I think the themes are kind of, this sums up the previous 3 albums. We tried to kind of do a more like a focus on the dramatical part of the album. We kind of we took a step back because the first 3 albums were kind of like from a perspective of one individual, and this is more like on a society level. We try to back up and look things from a bit different perspective, and I think it all started on the pondering of how, because humankind tends to repeat its mistakes. We do lots of stupid things, and maybe one of the reasons is that we don't kind of look back enough. We don't learn from our mistakes and end up on the same track as we did the previous time. So this is kind of the theme of the album. It starts from a very dark place where everything starts to go wrong, and then it ends up in the middle part to a kind of total collapse. And after the collapse, we are amidst all the rubble, all the destruction, and then the light starts shining through the rubble and through the smoke and through the hour actually means in Finland kind of smog, kind of like smoke, kind of fog, and maybe then we can we need the destruction to kind of look to the past and to start rebuilding and maybe see other people that are in the same mess in a different way. So there's this moment of calm and light, but then eventually everything tends to kind of end up on the same track that led to the destruction in the first place. So then after the brief moment of light, it starts getting darker again until we are in the same place as we were on the starting of the album. That was the idea, to go like a full cycle.
Okay.
And to do it, we had to kind of figure out the new ways to make songs and to kind of create the calm, the light.
Okay. Beyond about the concept that you told me about this hour, so excuse me if I'm very curious, but like Fata Morgana, for me, I remember when I asked you about the meaning of the name. The name is that has meaning for me as the King Arthur sisters. You told me about you did more about explore about the name. So I searched about for more information about hour. No, that's my way to understand more the music. So on internet and many alternatives came up. So the first was what the last name for Hungarian violins, the companies and called Hour. So then I found a lot of companies called Hour. That's a curious thing. And one thing that captured my attention is the Hour is like an hour cane related to leukemia. Finally, a translation is the hour from the translation from the Luxembourg language that I found. So the meanings of these hour words means clock. So if we relate it as a whole, what is the exactly meaning of this hour has for you? What is the story behind this unusual name? Because an unusual name for a metal band, but the common name for enterprises around the world, a lot of things happen.
Yeah, it's a Finnish word. I don't know how to translate it. So it's kind of exactly the same in English, but it's something like a day smoke. It's kind of particles in the air that are not smoke and not fog. Something that can come from in Finland. It usually comes from the east. It can be kind of related to factories and emissions that they produce, the smoke and that sort of stuff, or it can be bird coming from Sahara or something like that. And it has this distinctive way how it kind of distorts light and how it looks. Yeah. So that's the hour, and it was the visual image of kind of like the destroyed city, and then there's one man and the light comes through the hour and kind of the light looks differently through our.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we talk in 2021 about about your influence, one of the biggest ones was mentioned for both. That is My Dying Bride at that time. So therefore, what were the feelings when Aaron entered as a guest musician in Cyrus now, because it was your influence at the beginning. Now you are sharing this song with him. So many people think that this is as a dream come true because you're one of the biggest influence. So who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is huge. I think when we had the songs ready and we thought we had this part where we needed something dramatical, a dramatic voice. And I think we tossed around a lot of ideas. And then we heard that we have a common friend with Aaron. And I can't remember who it was, probably you, who said that should we contact him? And I guess we were all kind of in awe. But then we gathered our courage and asked if he would. We had our friend kind of pave the way, and she asked Aaron first, then is this something that he would even consider doing? And when he said that it might be, then we had the courage to ask him. And I think he was first. He really wanted to hear the song before he said anything, and we sent him a song and he liked it. So yeah.
Here we are. And of course it was it was kind of like it felt really strange at first. Yeah. It was hard to kind of picture this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it of course means a lot to us, and looking back now, I don't know how it was the obvious choice. Of course, it was meant to be him. His voice fits perfectly on Sirens. He's got this unique way of kind of, he's fragile and dramatic, and you can't copy it. It had to be him.
Yeah, I remember our producer when we had the tracks and he started mixing it into the song. I think he sent a message, something like, "Holy shit, this is like, fiddling with the pages of the Bible," or something like that.
Yeah, something you cannot kind of touch. Yeah.
Nice to hear. So a lot of happiness when they are entered to a future artist in this song. So other aspect that I don't know during these 2 last years is that when I remember when I spoke with a lot of people at the beginning of 2021, when you start your career with Horror Backwee, Rings, many people didn't know about the Marianas Rest because it's very underground at that time. But with Fata Morgana, you have a lot of good reviews, overwhelming received by the media, fans, critics. I read a lot of reviews of the last album or the previous album, and all 10, 9, 8, a lot of great scores there. So how do you deal now with the more intense promotion that the Marianas Rest has, especially here in Latin America? Because, as I said, when I spoke with a lot of people in Mexico, Colombia, Chile, they didn't know about you. But Fata Morgana focused in the eye of a lot of people here in Latin America.
Oh, that's great to hear. It was kind of intimidating. Everything is, of course, everything is still small. We are still a small band, but everything is bigger than the last time. There are a lot more kind of things to figure out, a lot more people, more to kind of help us through this release thing, and we try to do it kind of more professionally than we did last time, which I think the last time went really well, but of course more is more, and you need to kind of try to improve every time you do something. So that's what we are trying to do. But of course, it's kind of frightening to wait for the reviews. We've only had, I think, one now at this point, but yeah, that was 10 out of 10. So so the start is really good. But yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it is scary. Yeah, that is probably the best word to describe it. But yeah, I think the easiest way is not to kind of think too much about it. I think the best way is just to try to make it more professional is a good word. Probably, you kind of learn from the first round, you learn a thing or two, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. And the damage is already done. It's nothing much. The album is ready and so forth. So I think the main thing is that we are really we feel that it's a good album. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing. We are proud to kind of promote it.
Yeah, nice to hear. So now talking about from the aspect about the one book, perhaps do you hear about the book that well, I'm a huge fan from the Finnish since the 80s, since the 90s, when I hear for the first time the first death metal bands like True, Never Damage, etc. So perhaps do you have time to read the book From Rotting Ways to Misery, the history of the Finnish death metal? A book that explains a lot of history in Finnish and relate a lot of environments that there are people that are more melancholic, their way there are influence the music, etc. And we spoke last time about this aspect. So if we relate this as, what is your opinion, perhaps, if you have the opportunity to read this book, what is your opinion about this book? And in the other aspect, if you don't know, so how do you relate the sensations in this new album compared to the previous one? Because in the previous one you had more stronger sounds, more faster in some ways, but now I denote one aspect from this new album. It's more melancholic, more slow in a lot of parts. So how you relate this? Is the new sound from Marianas for the future, or perhaps it's just at the first step for a new sound? Who knows?
Yeah, well, actually, I've only read small parts of the book.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly why I stopped. I don't really remember. Yeah, but I haven't read the whole book. But of course, that is something I need to do someday. But regarding the sound, I think we just kind of went with the songs. We had we wanted to tell the story, and the story needed some changes in the music. So that's what we did. I don't think the last thing we wanted to do was kind of lose the heart of our band. We didn't want to change the essence of the band. That was, we wanted to kind of preserve it and keep it as it was, but we just wanted to add some new spices around it. So I don't think we are inventing our sound again. We just kind of just polished it, changed small things, and try to kind of keep it interesting that way.
Yeah, I don't think we ever, when we start writing or when we write an album, I don't think we think too much about how it's going to sound or whatever. We don't really focus on that. I think once we have a starting point and maybe some idea of the story, the musical story or the lyrical story on how it should go, I think we just go from there and then see where it ends up. But it's not a conscious thing that we try to go maybe slower or faster or, heavier or lighter or whatever. I think it's more like let's see where the music takes us kind of a thing.
Yeah, Yeah, and this record just I think well the last album was kind of it was really dark at points, and we have those moments on this album as well. I think for example Disease, this kind of it's pretty doomy and that sort of stuff, but maybe we just want to kind of have more of the opposite as well, without losing the essence while doing it. That was kind of the challenge.
Yeah. Well, always is afraid to lose your sound or achieve on the third album. This is normally for a musician. So now, well, you told me that the Fata Morgana was composed and written before the pandemic, years ago. But now, this new album was composed and written during the pandemic. So, in talking about the subject of living influence, I'm feeling what happens internally and externally for the musicians. Many musicians, as you say, Nico, they don't have a direction when writing music and carried away by the feelings that they have in the moment when they compose music, riffs, the albums, etc. So for you, how do the parts of producing an album connect with the idea of sensation in it? Could we say that the music is a concept thinking, or perhaps the music is a concept not thinking? Because in some parts you need to think about the times. 2, 4, 3, but this sounds much better than this riff. So you have to think about which sound, which riff, which schemes much better to produce an album.
Not thinking. I'd say it's for me it is like, you know, visualizing. Just like when you write music, I really don't think or deconstruct it in my mind so that it on how it theoretically goes. I think it's for me it is more like how do you say it? It's flow. It's a kind of a film that goes through your eyes when you play, because we write music so that we have a small idea, maybe a riff or a few chords or something, where we start, and then we start playing it as a band and just jam and see where it goes. So I think when you do it that way, it is easy to kind of lose yourself into the song and then try to build the story.
Yeah,
more than think of it as theoretical pieces of something. So it is very unconscious.
Yeah, of course the pandemic kind of the way it affected making this album was that this album was ready really soon after the first one. Yeah. I think some of the songs have been ready for a year and a half now about. So the album was made pretty quickly because we wanted to kind of keep ourselves busy after the last album, when we didn't have the chance to kind of tour and do gigs. So we made music and stayed at the rehearsals place and just made new songs. Yeah.
Okay, now Disease and Sirens was the two first singles that you released previous to this record. No? For that, in a word, there was for me these two singles are the two sides of the coin, because Disease is more stronger and Sirens is more soft or more slow in some parts. So for that, in a world where more and more singles are important to promote an album, how was the process to select these singles with an album of many sensations? Because for me, it's very difficult to pick just one song, because I'm from the old way. I prefer to hear all albums since one song and the last song. So it was your idea, or perhaps it was your idea of the label or your promoter or your manager to say, see, we release to sing these two singles, or perhaps because, as I said, it's very difficult with, especially with a doom metal band or funeral doom metal band or a lot of doom metal stuff, a lot of metal bands. It's very, very difficult to select one song to say, hey, this song capture whole essence from an album.
Yeah, I think we wanted to these first two songs to kind of be the opposite ends of the album. We wanted to kind of show the both ends, the light and the darkness, and because you can't really, as you said, one song or even two songs, it's hard to kind of, they cannot represent the whole album. But this was the idea, to kind of have the extremes put out there. So, you know, everything that comes after these two songs, they kind of are somewhere between these 2 points, Deceased and Sirens. And the next song that's coming out, I think in a week or two, it's kind of maybe the middle point of the album. Yeah, kind of in the middle of these two. So that was the idea. And actually we were on the same page. These were the songs that we kind of wanted, and it happened to be the same songs that the label would have chosen too. Yeah. So we didn't have any arguments there.
Okay. So, well, talking about where we are very close to this interview, guys, and for that, what are the future plans that the band has for this new album? Perhaps do more videos, perhaps a European tour. But new few shows was announced a few months ago. So perhaps a North American tour, the first steps to here to there, and with this North American tour, who knows, a Latin American tour, because now Marianas Rest has more presence into the press. In Latin American press.
We'll just have to see, I think. I know that there's a lot of discussions going on here and there, but I don't think we have really...
We cannot talk about them yet.
Yeah.
Nothing is certain until it's certain.
Yeah.
But yeah, we, of course, that what we would like to do is well, first kind of we have a few record release shows in Finland coming up, and that's kind of we get to play many songs from the record for the first time, so that's kind of like a big deal to see how they work live, and of course celebrate the release of the album. But then of course we have a plan to first tour to Europe, and of course we would like to come to North and South America, Latin America,
if it's up to us, then
yeah. Mantti wants to play on Sunset Strip.
Yeah.
That's his big dream. We are all working to make it happen.
Great to know.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
Because last month was touring Swallows on here, so it's I saw them in Bogota, Colombia, and they're amazing for the first time in my life. So I think if I will see you in some parts here in Latin America, I will amaze because of music, because the last two albums are really amazing. So, guys, now, well, as you know, talking about one band, especially Catatonia. So after one of the singles of their release was Austerity, but the concept of this austerity was released by artificial intelligence. So they create whole art of this lyric video by artificial intelligence. Now this artificial intelligence is now more present with a lot of artists doing cover art, doing lyric videos. So you put artificial intelligence in YouTube and see a lot of experience with the songs from Slayer, from that. Just put the lyrics from that, and they create a lot of images. So what do you tell about this experience with you, artificial intelligence? Are you agreed to put this software perhaps in lyric videos, perhaps in a future when a cover art for Marianas Rest, because now it's possible you can do by yourself?
Yeah, that's really. I think I've thought about the possibilities are I guess limitless now, but I don't know why I have some sort of problem with it. I maybe I just prefer to kind of have a, because, well, our stuff is kind of transferring the emotions, human emotions, and if there's a machine in the middle of it, it kind of feels just the wrong way, even if it would work perfectly. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe my thoughts will change about this, but yeah, so I don't, at least we don't have at the moment, we have no plans on that, but we have one guy in the band, our drummer Nico. I think he's kind of into this stuff, and well, probably he will start generating some sort of content through artificial intelligence. Maybe he's probably doing it right now as we speak. But yeah, maybe in a lyric video, okay, maybe. But if we're talking about music or lyrics or that sort of stuff, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I think can never say never, but I think, yeah, as long as it doesn't touch the music, I think, well, yeah, we'll just have to see what the future brings us. I mean, I have no problem with, for example, lyric videos or some sort of conceptual stuff. I don't know what it could be. I think the possibilities are something that we can kind of imagine or think of at this point. Hopefully it is something cool and not something that it is too plastic. So yeah, let's just see. I mean, we don't have any plans as we speak, but who knows?
If I was in Fear Factory, I would.
Yeah. Well, I spoke with Dino last year, and they told me that he told me that he will use for the next video, next cover art, because he loved it. He loved the artificial. There's more present in the music. He told me that in the 90s, when they create Fear Factory, always they think that they try to use a machine into the music. So now it's possible. So with this aspect,
I guess it depends a lot about the music, if it's industrial or that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
of course. Then but
yeah. And one relating to this aspect, so the artificial intelligence is now present with the art. It's normal. A lot of cover arts doing this one, a lot of things happen. But now, as you can see, a lot of musicians, a lot of producers are using now the artificial intelligence to improve their sound, to improve their methods, to improve the techniques. You can see also in the YouTube area, a lot of players wants to play like a machine. That's a curious thing, because a lot of people from my age, for over the 40s, they prefer to hear the music visceral, organic, this kind of stuff. But the new generation prefer to hear the music like machines. That's why a lot of drummers at 300 beats per hour, a lot of blast beats in 1 second. So what is your opinion about now the artificial intelligence is now more present into the music, into the arts in general? Because just not the arts, it's now the music. So it's now in the near future a lot. Just perhaps you will hear machines doing a solo album, doing doom metal with influence from Marianas Rest, by Dying Bright.
Yeah, it would probably be better than albums. Yeah, I think that depends on the music style as well. I personally, I want the music to have certain edge, and edge comes from mistakes as well. You need to have the human element. If the song is flawlessly played, or even kind of like an unhuman way played, there are no mistakes. Every hit is perfect, and every note is perfect. Then it's not as interesting, in my opinion, as compared to one with more emotion, and with emotion comes mistakes. That kind of makes the music more approachable, I think.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an art form itself. I think the kind of trying to reach perfection, I think it is a whole discussion of its own. But I also tend to like to hear some human factor in the music. And like you said, I think the bigger the emotion, the more it tends to have some sort of imperfections.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe not mistakes, imperfections. That's a better word. For example, we did the ending part of Sirens, where there's a lot of screaming. We recorded it 2 times because the first time was kind of technically too good. And we just deleted it and and went more like
organic,
raw emotional path.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the way. That's the way. That's the way. And well, guys, the sad times arrive at this interview. I hope you enjoyed this one like me. I love your Fata Morgana, this new album. It's a great one. We will do a review soon of Metalerio. So perhaps do you want to add something to your Latin American fans at the first time? When now a lot of fans will see this interview because a lot of people asking about this interview. So perhaps we want to add something for them and Metallerium followers.
Yeah, I think we just would love to come and visit. I've never been there. Love to kind of get mixed up with the local culture, pubs, and and kind of get a feel of the people there. I just hope we get to do that soon. That's one of the main missions on kind of this record, to get away from Finland and Europe.
Yes, definitely.